So in this video, I'm going to explain why it's so important to start today on any goal you have in life, whether it's health, reaching financial freedom, anything, but it's really imperative that you start today. So you may be thinking, why does it matter to start today? All you're seeing in the news is how the economy is just horrible, how inflation is just so high. People are saying they're not able to afford a house. The American dream is dead. Everyone is just racking up debt, enjoying life, because when it's all said and done, what is the point? That is going to lead you down a path where it's going to become even worse in the future. Because taking positive steps today is the approach that you certainly want to take. But this also works in the same ways when you take bad steps. You see, in the future, all the mistakes that you make today is just going to magnify unless you change it. Now, there's a parable that I love repeating. And the parable goes like this. The best time to plant a tree was 30 years ago. The next best time is now. You see, the key to all this is to take a small step. It don't matter how small it is. It could be the most smallest of the smallest. Listen, you could put $5 in your savings account. Just doing that gives you a feeling of, wow, I actually could do this. I actually can save. And I always have this saying as well. The day you start saving, right, rather than spending, from that moment you make a decision to transfer from a checking account to a savings account, you are a saver. From that day you decide to put money in your Roth IRA or start contributing to your 401k account, you are an investor. Because the small steps you take today is going to be the building block for your future success. And you also need to remember, this is practice. You're not going to be perfect as soon as you start changing all your habits. It's practice. Now that you make mistakes, sign Allen Iverson, it's practice. We're here talking about practice. But yes, we're here talking about practice. You want to just practice today. Practice on how to be a millionaire. Practice on building wealth. Get some books. It's the number one thing you want to do is to start reading so many books and learning so much about finances. That way, you will not be so afraid to put money into any type of investments, or you will learn and understand how to save and investing and how important it is. But you definitely need to understand that everything you're doing today is just not going to be perfect. You're going to fail. So many successful people have failed, and that's okay, because failure is part of the learning process. You see, if you want to change your life and you want to have a successful future, it's just going to take that. It's just going to take you deciding one day to wake up and say, the life that I'm living today is not the life that I want to live. That's the beautiful thing about it. You can just stop it at that moment and just shift and make that change. It's going to be difficult. I understand, especially if you're someone who never budgeted in your life, or you're someone who never been into the gym. But understand this, everybody at one point in your life had to start one day. They were never perfect at all at building wealth. They're never perfect at all in going to the gym. It just takes constant repetition, constantly every day showing up, and eventually you'll hit any goal in life. Listen, there is no goal that's unachievable. Some might take a little longer than others, or some might happen right away. But it all starts with taking that first step. When you're practicing to try to become successful, and you're practicing to lose weight, you're practicing to build wealth, it all has to start with a change in your mindset. You need to have a growth mindset. You see, if you're continually doing something and you're failing, and you recognize, you know what, that just doesn't work for me, that growth mindset is not there. You need to focus on your growth mindset. Now, there's a couple ways that you could do this, right? You could start listening to some podcasts. That's what I did. I started listening to so many financial podcasts. There's so many people out there that start learning about finances once they start listening to Dave Ramsey. Because let's be quite honest, there's not a lot of finance being taught in school. So I learned most of my finance by listening to Dave Ramsey. And that got me motivated to pay off debt. That really did. Just listening to that got me motivated. But the day I decided to listen to a podcast, my whole life just changed. I started just taking out some junk podcasts that I had. I started putting in better podcasts. I started reading more self-help books. Got myself a library card. I kept on getting that. Then I got an ebook readers, and I started putting a whole bunch of financial books in there. All of that information really gets me motivated. I mean, even YouTube, subscribe to my channel if you want, cheap plug, but it's true. But even YouTube, I watch so many people post so many videos that gets me motivated. And if you put yourself into that universe, you automatically gonna build a growth mindset. You see, if you wanna be good at anything, you gotta learn. Because when it's a new skill, it's gonna take some time to learn that skill. But it's really easy to quit, especially if you have no foundation around you and no one giving you positive information and some positive motivation. And with that being said, that's why listening to podcasts works, because I heard somewhere, and it's really interesting, is once you hear a podcast, right? In my case, it was Dave Ramsey. You think you're actually friends with him because it feels like he's talking to you one-on-one. So you build a relationship with these people. I mean, obviously not in real world, in the digital world, but you definitely build a relationship with them and you learn so much from them. They're giving you so much information for free that to me, it's mind-blowing how people won't take advantage of it. But you definitely need to replace your old life and implement that growth mindset. That's going to get you so far because there's going to be bad days. There's going to be bad and rough days where you're going to trip up and you're going to fail. Now, the key to that is what you're going to do. Are you just going to say, you know what, I can't do it, and you quit and you give up? Or are you going to recognize, you know what, that's one day I slipped up, I broke my budget now is ruined, but you know what, my next paycheck, I'll figure it all out, I'll put everything back and I won't do it again. That's the key to this. You're going to make mistakes, but you just cannot quit once you make mistakes. Now, the things that I did as well to try to change my mindset was I just had a journal. I documented so many things on my journal. Now, if you're like me, I thought that was like, things like girls do, writing diaries and stuff like that. But no, it actually does help out because sometimes you have all these thoughts in your mind and all these ideas. You want to just dump it on the piece of paper. That's the best thing to do. I do not go back and read it, but some people do. But usually in the beginning of the year, you can do this really at any time, but I usually do it in the beginning of the year. I set my goals down to what I want to achieve. And I go big. I don't go small. For example, one of my goals was to get monetized on YouTube. That was one of my goals, but not just simply just get monetized, to try to get 10,000 subscribers. Right now, I think I got like 1,113 subscribers. I'm a little away, but I dream big and I aim for it and I give it my all. Every day I go and I try to learn how to do better thumbnails, how to do better videos, better ideas. I always implement that because I have that growth mindset. I'm trying to grow my channel, and at the same time, I'm trying to do the same thing with my investments. I'm learning so much about finances that I want to grow my investments. So I just lock in and just learn how to be a better person and get a better understanding when it comes to building finances and also growing this channel. So I know it's really difficult, especially when you're seeing all these doomy and gloomy videos talking about how negative life is right now. So you feel like, well, if I'm doing bad, everyone else is doing bad, then what good is it to do good, right? Everyone else is doing bad, I might as well continue doing bad. You need to change that mindset. You need to change that mindset quickly because don't let these vampires suck you dry. That's what's going on, okay? These vampires are sucking your emotions. They're sucking all your motivation out of you. You need to just have some positivity in your life and take that first step. Take that first step. No one ever won a marathon taking one step. That's not the way it works. So take multiple steps in order for you to complete a marathon. So if you want to be rich, you want to be wealthy, you want to reach your ideal weight, you want to start practicing today for that better and more successful and the more happier and the more fulfilled future.